Every time the modern heroes come to mind, especially in a world where news headlines are dominated by fame, wealth, and larger-than-life egos, few names cut through the noise quite like Keanu Reeves. In an industry that loves overindulgence, one in which pride is so boastfully shown, Keanu has stood out as an icon not only for his work on screen but for his modesty, perseverance, and character off-screen. His struggles of a really tough childhood, then personal tragedy, to becoming arguably one of the most beloved actors on the planet speak more to a life than talent. It speaks to a life well lived. Keanu Reeves is, without doubt, one of the finest role models for men of all ages, carrying with him a timeless appeal of humility, hard work, and resilience in a world that largely rewards its opposite. I am Nameless King, and let me guide you through another example of male role models. If you see value in this video, please subscribe and leave like and comment. If Keanu's life were a movie script, it would be nothing less than a storehouse of ups and downs that could easily have defeated a lesser man. Born in Beirut, Lebanon, in 1964, his mother a showgirl and his father leaving the family when Keanu was just 3 years old set the scene for some pretty unstable early years. His mother would later marry multiple times, moving Keanu through various cities and countries, first to Australia, then New York, and finally Toronto. He struggled to find his place within a world that was always in flux. If the tumultuousness at home wasn't enough, Keanu was diagnosed with dyslexia, a condition that made school extremely difficult for him. Reading and doing traditional learning were always an affair of tussles, and he at times felt alienated. Imagine trying to keep up in class when your brain is wired differently from the rest of your peers. For most people, such challenges might have resulted in self-doubting or quitting education altogether. However, incredibly, Keanu did not let his difficulties define him. But instead of wilting under the obstacles in front of him, Keanu used them for fuel for something greater. He dropped out of high school but didn't give up on learning. He found passion and purpose in acting in sports, especially hockey, where he was called the Wall for his tenacity as a goalie. The first signs of resilience that would come to define Keanu's life and career were here. But as rough as Keanu's early life was, his adult years would be filled with even more sadness. Having just gotten settled into his acting career in the late 80s and early 90s, tragedy struck when Keanu's best friend, River Phoenix, died of a drug overdose in 1993. The death of Phoenix really tore into Keanu, who had already been struggling with loss and alienation since his peripatetic childhood. Then came the successful 1999 film The Matrix, wherein Reeves and his girlfriend at that time, Jennifer Syme, had their daughter Ava, who was stillborn. The tragedy went further in 2001 when Syme, in her grief, died in a car accident. Most people would be devastated by such an overwhelming amount of lost child, partner, best friend within this time frame. That's the kind of sorrow that, for many people, can render them broken, unable even to continue with an inkling of a normal life. But Keanu again used his pain as a way into something deeply human, not by closing down but continuing, not by burying his grief but channeling it toward compassion for others. He nurtured an ardent sympathy for the sufferings of people around him, be they friends, fans, or strangers. It is partly Keanu's vulnerability that makes him so strong. He does not feign invincibility or complete immunity from suffering. He acknowledges it and keeps moving on. Perhaps the greatest lesson we can learn from Keanu Reeves is that life is a repository of pain, yet it is not that which defines us, but how we respond to that pain. Keanu's story teaches us one thing: that unimaginable hardship can be lived through in a way found to be kind and open, to live with purpose. What Keanu Reeves' career stands for is proof of what dedication can do. Living in a world where priorities are given more to fleeting fame over real skill, Keanu has built his legacy on hard work, precision, and an unyielding commitment to the trade. For Reeves, acting isn't just some job, it is a calling that demands everything from him, whether mastering fight choreography or digging deep into his characters' psyches. This is probably most evident in the way he prepared for his roles in such films as Neo in The Matrix and John Wick of the self-named action franchise. Reeves didn't just show up on set and allow stunt doubles to do all the heavy lifting in tough scenes. No, Keanu plunged headfirst into months of grueling training. For The Matrix, Reeves spent months learning kung fu and wirework techniques so that his fight scenes would be as authentic as possible. But even that pales in comparison to what he did for John Wick. He started training in judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and spent hours upon hours training with firearms. He didn't want to just look like an assassin, he wanted to be one. Keanu did 90% of his stunts in John Wick, which is almost never seen in action films. Whether getting thrown through glass windows to complex fight scenes, Reeves does it all. Why? Well, mainly because if he does it, then there are no shortcuts or halfway measures as far as Keanu is concerned. That comes out from this idea with him that the audience deserves nothing less but simply the best. That's dedication to which any one of us, whatever our field may be, can easily relate. Success is not awarded by talent but by relentless hard work, paying heed to even minute detail, and pushing oneself beyond the levels of human endurance one deems possible. But Keanu's commitment isn't just to his craft, it's to the people he works with. On set, he is considered to be among the most down-to-earth and respectful actors in the business. Tales are legion regarding him thanking individually the crew members at the end of a shoot, buying the stunt team personalized motorcycles as a thank you, or even cutting his own salary to make sure production teams have budget they need for special effects. To Reeves, it is never about being a star, it's all about team spirit. This is rare in a culture that proudly trumpets individual achievement or celebrity status. Keanu's behavior is a potent reminder that no one ever pulls off any feat on his own. Whether it's the lead actor or the guy holding the boom mic, everyone plays a part in creating something special. And that's something we can all take to heart in our own lives. Whether you're working on a team project at work, collaborating on a creative endeavor, or just helping out a friend, Keanu's approach to teamwork and humility is an example we should all try to take with the people around us. Perhaps the most striking feature of Keanu Reeves' life is his silent and sublimely underrated generosity. In a world where stardom often has desire for attention and adoration as part and parcel, Keanu has remained refreshingly low-key. He doesn't seek the limelight for good works, and yet, his goodness has turned into a sort of whispered legend. Reeves has quietly donated millions to various children's hospitals and cancer research, inspired in part by his sister, Kim, who has struggled with leukemia for over a decade. Setting aside philanthropy, Keanu has never sought to draw attention to himself. He doesn't paste his name on the wing of a hospital or host splashy charity galas. He gives softly, steadily, and without expectation of praise. That kind of selflessness is rare, not only in Hollywood but in the larger world as well. But the ways that Keanu has been generous extend far beyond the major gestures. It's often in the little things that he does. Whether it is giving up his seat on the subway, spending time on the streets of Los Angeles with homeless people, or signing autographs for hours on end after a premiere, Keanu goes out of his way to be kind to everyone he encounters. One of those men who really truly seems to give a damn about others regardless of their status or background, Keanu is. Of course, this became the famous story in 2019 about how Keanu made sure that a stranded group of airline passengers from an emergency landing made it to their destination safely. Instead of leaving airport staff to sort out the situation, Keanu organized a van for the passengers, shared fun facts about the journey, and spent the entire ride making conversation with the lot. It's a small act, but one that speaks volumes about his character. The beauty of Keanu is that during a time when so many people are out for themselves, he reminds us it doesn't cost anything to be kind. Whether you are a celebrity or not, the impact you have with the people around you is directly reflected in the way you treat them. You don't have to have millions of dollars or a big platform to make a difference in someone's life. You just need to show up, listen, and care. That's a lesson for all of us that, in the little things we can do, we actually can make so much difference in somebody's life. And for that, Keanu's consistent kindness warms him up to many fans. Keanu's on-screen personas often manifest strength, from the invincible Neo from The Matrix to the flinchless assassin John Wick. What makes Keanu such a compelling figure, on screen and off, however, is the way he tempers that strength with vulnerability. His characters aren't just action heroes, they're deeply human, flawed, and often grappling with huge loss. And that emotional depth is something that Keanu brings from his own life. Not like most action stars in Hollywood, Keanu is not diffident about his sensitive side. In interviews, he comes off as introspective, thoughtful, and will discuss pain he has endured. He talks publicly about his losses and the struggles through the grief to how it has made him as an individual. This acceptance of vulnerability makes Keanu not only a role model for physical strength but also for emotional strength. He is something of a radical, proof that true strength lies in embracing your emotions. Living in a world that so often celebrates one narrow kind of masculinity, a stoic and tough version, it's okay to grieve, feeling the pain, letting those emotions mold you. Keanu's life teaches us being vulnerable doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. In that humanity lies some sort of strength that can never be broken. This is a balance of strength and vulnerability that we can all learn something from. Whether you are fighting personal battles, trying to work through difficult relationships, or weathering professional storms, Keanu's example shows that it is absolutely okay to be tough yet soft, strong yet kind. You don't have to choose.